Hi, everybody. This is Rick here. Welcome to Digital Fortress. Hopefully you can hear me okay. I'm live streaming with mobile right now out here in warm, sunny, beautiful Virginia. If you ever get a chance to visit the United States, then you might want to go visit Florida, and that way we don't have to bother with in Virginia. I'm just kidding. Just going to update and on the Haskell Shelley Testnet. Let me turn my volume down for a second. It's kind of hard to see out here in the sunlight. But I just want to give you an update on the Shelley Haskell Testnet. It's kind of hard to see right now. 1 second. There we go. There we go. Okay, so quick update on the Haskell Shelley testnet. And you have questions, feel free to ask me questions. I'll answer everything I can. So the testnet started off, we have 19 people working on the testnet for startup here. And the reason for that is if you have too many people piled in at once, testing all these really fine details, it could be problematic. But what we'll be doing sometime in the next several days is each one of the pioneers will find 2 more people to bring on board to kind of like mentor and take them through the process to get them up and running, and then so on and so on. And then they find 2 friends and they find 2 friends and so on and so on. And that way people can get brought up in a controlled environment, you know, and have mentors or teachers, someone can help them out specifically. So the people who are currently on the testnet will, on the Haskell Shelley testnet, will identify 2 more people to bring on. And then the process will continue. So far, the first week, things have gone well, but being brand new, it is going as expected, where just things need to be ironed out, procedures. Some of the things in the code still need to be updated and stuff like that, but it is working quite well up to this point. It's surprisingly smooth, you know, it runs kind of lightweight. And I'll be looking for people to train myself, 2 people. And what I'm thinking is I would like to get geographical dispersion. Right now, we don't have anyone on the testnet from South America, Africa, remote regions like Hawaii, out in Antarctica, the North Pole. So I'm thinking about onboarding 2 people from remote geographic regions who are willing to run their server on local physical servers in remote regions, but they can still meet the bandwidth requirements of at least 50 megabits per second and be able to run at least 2 nodes, because you'll have to be able to run a core node and a relay node. That way we can test the geographical dispersion. That's just a particular interest of mine to be tested. Now, the interesting thing about the testnet in its current form is there's exercises, and you can check out Big Pay's channel. He did a really good video where he went into detail. But right now there's exercise 1 and 2, and exercise 3 is going to come out, and we're refining and ironing out exercise 1 as there are also some code changes and updates being done. And exercise 2 is also published, and people are working through that and iron out the procedures in that one. And what the first exercise does is it helps you get the idea of basically setting up a node, then setting up a core node and a relay node at the basic level, and getting the 2 to talk between these 2 nodes in a local in one environment, then and creating an address and stuff like that, then and sending simple transactions. Then exercise 2 gets a little bit more advanced. It's kind of like a crawl, walk, run approach, where the first exercises just get you familiar with what you're looking at and setting up the code. And then as the exercise increase more and more, there will be more and more exercises. Right now, there's 2 released, the 3rd one coming out shortly. There may be up to 10 exercises coming out total that will take you through more and more advanced stages of more complex transactions and features. Okay, so yeah, I'll be looking for 2 people in the coming days. It could be, I don't know, 5 days or so, maybe up to 5 days before we start bringing more people in. And also, I'll need some time to be personally ready to help other people as well. So I'll have to understand it better before I start trying to train somebody else on how to do it. Plus, there's also other advanced users out there. It might be good to bring them in as well. So if anybody got any questions, let me know in the chat. Hi, Wayne Morgan. He says, are you making blocks yet? No, not making blocks yet. There's, I think, a few, I don't know who else making blocks yet. The IOHK nodes are making the blocks on the Haskell Shelley testnet. There's and transactions, but it's not that far into the game yet that all the current operators are going to be making blocks. Plus, the ADA it's fake ADA or FATA or PATA, PATA, Pioneer ADA. It's not like it's ITN testnet ADA or real world ADA. Okay, so that is controlled and issued by Sam at IOHK. That's like a control mechanism to keep things from getting buck wild, so that we can have a gradual process as we move into it. So no, not making blocks yet. Any other questions? What would pledge amount be? What would the pledge amount be for setting up? It could be anything. It can be one. I mean, we're gonna have to test this whole range. You can do pledge 1 ADA up to 45 billion ADA. In the test environment, it would be theta. So, I mean, currently the mainnet has 32 billion real ADA on it. So a pledge amount could be up to 32 billion, although it wouldn't make sense because Kagel's 1000 and pledge would be maxed out at 32 million. Okay. All right. Any other questions? Let me know. Otherwise, I'm going to wrap it up. It's a beautiful Friday afternoon. Let's see. Oh, can you talk about the exercises, please? Yeah. Yes, Victor. I can talk about the exercises. The first exercise, you have to have a basic understanding, or more than a basic, you got to have a good understanding of how to use Linux. So you got to know how to use Linux right out of the gate. If you show up on the Haskell Testnet and say how to Linux, you're probably a little bit behind the power curve. So make sure, watch some YouTube videos on how to use Linux, build Linux, make sure you got your Linux skills down. Because we're not currently doing Windows or Mac, although Mac is almost exactly like Linux. I could probably set one up on the Mac. Also, learn tmux. There's a really good video. Couple of them on how to use tmux, which is used in the shell in Linux. So make sure you know how to use tmux going into it. That might be very helpful for you. There's also some really crappy videos, so I'll find the link to the good one. I have it bookmarked, and I'll drop it down below. That way you don't get stuck watching the crappy ones. So I'll let you know how that goes. So the exercise has you start off with installing Cabal and installing the GHC Haskell compiler. Okay. So it has you do that first. Then it has you install the node and build the node. Then it has you configure the node. Then it has you copy the node into 2 instances and then configure the topology. So everything that you learned on Rust applies directly to Haskell. Basically, what you do on Rust works on Haskell, but the configurations are different. Instead of having one giant node config YAML file, you have a Genesis file, you have a configuration file, and you have a topology file. Okay, and so the first exercise gets you familiar with how to create and configure those files. Okay, hopefully my audio and video is okay. It looks a little digital because I'm on mobile. All right, so let's see here. Can you talk about the exercise? Yeah, so hopefully that's the first exercise. So it gets you up to building 2 nodes. The first stage of the exercise, you kind of connect to mainnet with a script, and it's pretty cool. It just gets you connected so that you get the understanding of what you're looking at. That's like the crawl phase. Exercise 1 is crawl. Exercise 2 is still kind of crawl, walk, and then the further exercise will be run exercises. So it gets you connected. Then by the end of the first exercise, you will be splitting it out into 2 different nodes, a relay and a core, and getting them configured so that they work on the Pioneer testnet. Okay, so let me see what other questions here. Oh, lots of good questions. Is being a pool operator on the ITN a prerequisite to the Haskell testnet? I never saw it listed as a prerequisite, but it should be. Great questions, Jolsiak Kajin. It should be a prerequisite. You should learn on Rust first before getting into the Haskell one, because the Haskell one is a bit more complex than the Rust one. Okay. I haven't seen anyone talk about cold staking. Yeah, we're not into that yet. How far away do you feel Shelley? How far away do I personally feel Shelley? Kind of hard to say. I tend to lean on the side of caution, and based on what I'm seeing, maybe August. Don't hold me to that. Don't hold me to that. Okay. Let's see. Anyone have a good video for setup on a Raspberry Pi 4? There are good videos for setting up on a Raspberry Pi 4 on Rust. Okay. Or Raspberry or a Rock Pi. I don't recommend them personally. I don't recommend them, although the Haskell runs very, very lightweight. I think Raspberry Pi and Rock Pi are good for training. They're good. They're a low-cost way to experiment. There are pools running on the Rock Pis on the Rust version, but I think come mainnet, the transaction load is going to be significant. So that's just my thoughts on that. Just my opinions. That's all. Let's see. I have no intel on that, but that's just my opinion on how it might work because of the heavy transaction load. Let's see. I've seen names of HTN coming by. Is it similar to ITM but a different phase? Do you know what HTN means? HTN means Haskell Testnet. It's the Haskell Testnet. It is not incentivized. It is not Rust. So hopefully that answers the questions. Okay, so that's all I got for you. Any other questions, let me know. I know there's a bit of delay, so I'll pause for about 12 seconds here before I close out for the day. Let me think. Anything else? It's going great. You'll see some funny things on Twitter about wrestling bears. UMed Sideoff made a real funny meme, or somebody made it. I saw that UMed tweeted out showing pioneers wrestling bears. Yes, it is bear wrestling. It's highly precision software, but exploratory territory. So you're going to run into interesting things that need to be solved. Okay, so it would be very hard to do. That's why we have about 19 people in that group, plus a handful of people from IOHK, Emergo, and the Cardano Foundation in the group on the Haskell Testnet. If we had hundreds of people in there, it would be nearly impossible to read the Telegram as it scrolls through. But I think as the exercise become more refined, that's probably the biggest weakness right now is the exercises need improvement. They don't work word for word, especially exercise 1. It needs to work word for word right out of the gate in the crawl phase. I'm a professional instructor, and when I first train students, I teach them precision, exactly how to do something. They got to see it right the first time. Okay. Then the second time is I give them a little bit of leeway. I give them enough rope to hang themselves or get themselves in trouble and let them make their mistakes. And then the third time is I take away the books and the instructions and I just give them an assignment and they got to complete it on their own. Okay. And that's kind of how the Haskell Testnet will or should run, where the exercise 1, 2, and 3 are precision and it just kind of shoves it down your throat. This is how it works. And then as it gets more and more advanced, give people leeway. Plus, they're also designed to make you think. You can't show up. You can't show up with no skills whatsoever and expect to follow a procedure and it poops out a node. You're going to have to know how to fix your own Linux environment variables. You're going to need to know how to correct your own specific configuration problems. You're going to have to know how to do that on your own. Of course, you can always ask for help from other people in Telegram, but the exercises are node specific or Haskell and Cardano specific. All right, so, but they are tailored around an Amazon Web Service and or Ubuntu physical machine currently, and then it will become more advanced as it goes along, or maybe not more advanced, but people will figure it out. They'll know, oh, how to deploy it on Windows, how to deploy it on Mac. So that'll come with time. Let's see here. Okay. Crypto Hunter says it would be great to know if Ledger cold staking will be live on the launch of Shelley. If not, we'll have to move the ADA. Yeah, I would like to have Ledger cold staking as well. I don't know how long it will take. And it will also be possible to stake from a paper wallet. Isn't that crazy? That's crazy. Eventually, we will be able to stake from paper wallets because once Shelley is out, you'll be able to generate a paper wallet that generates a ADA address without the secret key ever having touched the internet, and it will also create a staking address. I have no idea how that works. I think it's crazy. I think it's really cool. Whoever solved that, you're a genius. All right. But yeah, Ledger that would be great. I like Trezor. I hope the Trezor is there. I have both, but I like the Trezor interface better. Brazuca asks, hey, Rick, how's the pledge discussion going on the friends and family? We're not even discussing it yet. We're not there yet. So I think once we have more people trained up and more stake and more pledging and people test different values, then the pledge discussion will kick off. We are not there. The pledge is a very advanced discussion. And right now, the Haskell Testnet is at the early stages of crawl and walk, or fight bears and snakes, okay? We're fighting the bears and snakes. I hope that answered your question, Brazuca. Let me know if you have any others. And Brazuca asks, have they found the proper values? No, they do not. They've not found the proper values yet. I don't think there is a they. There is no they. We are the they. You guys are going to have to figure out the proper values. Now, here's the deal. The values can be anything. The value that needs to be figured out by scientists is the K parameter and the A0 parameter. So those are the values we'll have to figure out. Now, as far as what is the optimal pledge, that depends on each individual person and their budget. But on the test net, we'll be able to conduct various tests once we get enough people in and warmed up and powered up and pledging and staking and conducting transactions. Then at that point, we'll be able to test the various parameters. I think it's going to go quick. The epochs on the test net are set to 6 hours, 6-hour epochs. That way, you know, it's like accelerating time. Things will occur faster, so it's going to go quick. All right. I hope that helped with your question. Let's see here. How does Bec32 going looking like smaller addresses? Oh, I didn't even think about it. My address starts with like one of the addresses I have 8462, something like that. I don't even see the B. What did the Bec32 start with? BE1 or something like that. So I don't know if we're using Bec32 addresses. The addresses I have currently start with the number 8. So it doesn't exactly look at Bec32 address yet. Let's see. Crypto Hunter will be delegating to Digi. Thank you, Crypto Hunter. Good evening, Mr. Taco from Roadrunner. Yes, sir, Mr. Taco. All right. I love tacos. What test phase number are you on or completed? Wayne, I am on exercise 1 because I am pounding and pounding on it. So I submitted some pull requests on exercise 1 to fix it because it doesn't work. It doesn't work right out of the box. It has, so instead of blasting onto exercise 2, I stayed on 1, deleted my virtual machine and started from scratch. 5 iterations. Last night was attempt number 5. It's not because I'm stupid. It's because I kind of have OCD and I want it to work right. So I deleted the virtual machines a couple of times. Then I got tired of deleting the virtual machines. So now I would just move the directory and then redo exercise 1 and put in a pull request. And the pull request started just getting pulled in. So hopefully it works in its entirety now. It'll get there eventually, but it's not all there yet. I'll find out tonight, Friday night. That's what I'll be doing, is I'll be going through exercise 1 again from scratch. I hope it works. I do have some notes right here on my computer that if it doesn't work, I know where to put them. So I'll put my notes in. That's just how it is. We're wrestling the bears and snakes. So hopefully, I hope before we bring on more pioneers, I really hope exercise 1 works correctly. Currently, it does not. Okay, any other questions? At least last night, it didn't work right. Hopefully today it does. Brazuca, cool, is there a test where they will trigger a fake Sybil attack, or is this going to be much later? Yeah, there's going to be attacks on the network, a combination of Sybil attacks, different stuff. Merrick is currently doing load testing. That's not an attack. He's doing some transaction testing on his own, I guess, kind of just to see how it goes. So that's pretty cool. So I'll ask him how that's going. You can ask Merrick. You'll see him on Twitter. That's Steak Nuts. That's the Nuts Pool, Nuts JP. So you can ask Merrick about how the transaction load testing is going. But fake Sybil attacks, yeah, all the different kinds of attacks. Those are all going to be done on the network. And then Sam Leathers, the IOHK DevOps engineer, he's also going to conduct sorts of attacks on the network on HTN. Victor asks, do we have access to the exercise already? Yes, you do. They are on GitHub. They are on GitHub under IOHK/Cardano Tech node. Check out Pay Ada's YouTube channel. He shows you the exercises on his channel. I believe he has the links down below. I was watching his video on that before on my phone when I had a chance. I got to look at Pay. Nice work over there, Pay. Good job. All right. Let's see. Any other questions? I've been going a little bit long. Lunchtime is almost over. I'm actually going to head up and finish the day from home. I'm at the office park. It's like a zombie apocalypse around it. Aside from delivery trucks and a few other activities in this area, there's like not very many people around because they're either working from home or working remotely. So I just got birds chirping and a bunch of Canadian geese over there with their baby ducklings, baby gooselings waddling around. You got to watch out for Canadian geese. They are aggressive, especially when they have their gooselings and they're leading them around. They got about 7 and they'll cross the street. And don't go near them. They will attack you. Those things will mess you up. Those things are crazy. Just watch out for Canadian geese this time of year when they got their babies. They'll mess you up. All right. That's all I got. I see no more questions. Hopefully we'll be bringing pioneers on when we're ready. We'll get the word out and get people coming on. Again, I'm looking for geographic dispersion. Like if you're from South America, let me know. Shoot me a DM on Telegram. That way we can test remote nodes. Make sure you got at least 50 megabits per second internet. Make sure you can run at least 2 nodes with at least 4 gig of RAM and 2 CPUs per node, although I recommend higher. That way you don't run out of room when you're gonna need it, okay? All right, everyone. Well, thanks for watching Digital Fortress. I hope y'all have a great Friday and a great weekend. Stay healthy, stay safe out there. Y'all have a good weekend. Bye-bye.